Good evening, dear members and residents. Welcome you today, the first session of the weekend's ICTS webinar. And this weekend, we have a special topic. In fact, it was at the request of a number of exam-going students who had written down to me, requesting to conduct a pattern of examinations. And the first session of the day will feature a premier session, which will aim at providing clarity and information about the change in pattern and format in the examination structure for certification in cardiothoracic surgery administered by the National Board of Examinations. The session will be engaged by Dr. O.P. Yadav sir and Dr. M. Mohammad Ali Jilani, senior cardiothoracic surgeons of a fraternity and noted examiners. The session is being organized for the welfare of students and residents with the intent to address concerns, questions, and provide clarity on the format of objective structured clinical examination, that is OSCE, a change in effect with the changing times of COVID-19, as the NB describes it, to aid in the safety of the examinees and the patients and also the examiners. Dr. Yadav serves as the Chief Executive Officer and Chief Cardiac Surgeon at the National Heart Institute in the east of Kailash, New Delhi. An institute clinician, academician, Dr. Yadav has served in the armed forces of our nation before his present assignment and has been involved in training numerous candidates of integrated 6-year CTVS residency program administered by the National Board of Examinations. He is the incumbent editor-in-chief of the Indian Journal of Thoracic and Cardiovascular Surgery, official publication of ACTS. Dr. Mohammad Ali Jilani serves as the Director, Professor and Head of Department of Cardiothoracic and Vascular Surgery in Govind Ballabh Institute of Postgraduate Medical Education and Research in New Delhi. An experienced clinical administrator, Dr. Jilani has been involved in training of residents at the doctoral level for certification in cardiothoracic surgery as administered by the National Board of Examinations. He is a senior fellow and member of Indian Association of Cardiothoracic and Vascular Surgeons. On behalf of the Indian Association of Cardiothoracic and Vascular Surgeons, welcome both the examiners, Dr. O.P. Yadav sir and Dr. Mohammad Jilani sir. Over to Dr. O.P. Yadav, please. We'll have his presentation first, followed by Dr. Jilani's presentation.
Well, thanks a lot, Dr. Hiremath, and good evening to you, ladies and gentlemen.
You need to share the screen, sir, yes.
Share my screen. Is that shared?
Not yet, sir.
Oh, God.
Yeah, now, yes, sir.
Okay. See, now with the troubled corona times, you know, the routine pattern has been changed. And the CTVS examination is going to be a single-day examination, essentially divided in a pre- and post-lunch session. If I can just run you through a very broad construct of this examination. The candidates will be asked to report to the respective centers, and these centers will be about 8 or 9 centers, which will be regional centers, and they will cater to a surrounding area of 200, 300 kilometers around so that the students can come to that center. So they'll be asked to report on the day of examination at roughly 8 a.m. Morning 9 to 12 will be an OSCE. As you all know, OSCE is objective structured clinical examination, and you probably have already gone through this during the part 1. Then between 12 and 1:30, there'll be Viva Voce. So yes, I told you OSCE will be between 9 and 12 in the morning, and then there'll be 1.5 hours of Viva Voce. There'll be a quick bite, 1:30 to 2, the lunchtime, followed by the clinical examination. Now coming to these individual, the OSCE, there will be 25 OSCE stations. Each station will be for 5 minutes, and it will be scored 8 marks. So you have a total of 200 marks for OSCE, and that really forms the main part of your examination. Each station will cater to one main, shall I say, question, but that question may have a lot of subparts. As we're going to see later during our discussion, it will have 1 part, 2 part, 3rd part, 4th part, and all questions may not be laid out simultaneously to you. there'll be a question. Along with that, we will expect an answer. Once an answer has been given, a second question will pop up, a third question will pop up. On your screen, on your left side, you will have that question has how many parts, and on the right side, you will have the time so that you can keep track that of that 5 minutes, how much time you have been given for that sub part of that question so that you can time your answers to that. After every 5 to 7 stations, there will be a 5 minutes break, what is called the rest station, with some cup of tea for you. Now, each station, you will be given a separate answer sheet where you will have to put down your answer. Those answers will not be checked at the local center. They will all be scanned and then sent to the National Board headquarters in Delhi, where they will be evaluated. So that's the OSCE part. Then from 12 to 1:30, there will be Viva Voce. In Viva Voce, there will be 4 examiners. One examiner will sit in one station and the domains will be there. There will be 4 domains. In this slide, one domain has got missed out. That will be valvular heart disease. Second domain will be congenital acyanotic. Third, congenital cyanotic. And the fourth one, which will cover recent advances, thoracic, vascular, and virtually the rest of the field. And each one of these Viva Voce will have 10 marks so that you have roughly 40 marks for this Viva Voce. After the lunch, you have this clinical examination or clinical evaluation. There will be 2 cases. Now, this will be 15 minutes for each case, and it will be marked 30 marks for each case so that you have 60 marks. So overall, there are 300 marks, 200 in OSCE, 40 in Viva, and 60 in clinical evaluation. Now, the first case is going to be virtual, and this is going to be interactive. It will analyze your thinking and analytical power. And that, as I told you, will again be a question expecting an answer for you, then slightly modifying that clinical scenario. If this be this, then what will happen? Again, give it a twist. If instead of this, this is this, then what happens? So essentially, it is analytical power of day-to-day clinical problems. There's going to be nothing exotic from the textbooks. It is everything that you have practiced and seen on day-to-day basis. Now, the second case is not sure in the sense an attempt will be made. If the center can arrange, then it will be an actual case. If, however, the center cannot arrange, then there is a provision by the DNB that second case can also be a virtual case. It can even be a dummy, and it can be a mannequin in which skill demonstration can be asked for. Skill demonstration can be anything. You may be asked to palpate the posterior tibial artery, the popliteal artery on a dummy. You may be given any clinical scenario, and a skill demonstration exercise will have to be carried out. Now, you will have to make sure that though the pass marks are going to be 150 out of 300, but you will have to clear each one of these 2 parts individually to get the pass percentage. You can't score 200 out of 200 in the OSCE and score 0 in the rest 2 and yet pass. No, you will have to get 50% in each one of these elements. Now, for the clinical case, I will just give you a very quick, maybe over the next 2-3 minutes, an idea of what this model case could be. And this is a model case which was released by the National Board itself. Now, a question may be asked straight away. For example, let's take you through this case. A question is asked, the clinical scenario is presented to you, 7 months old baby found to have a murmur. That's all that has been given to you. Based on that, the question will be asked, what are the relevant questions you will ask to the mother? Mention 4 points. Now, you have either mentioned 4 points because you can ask 50 things from the mother. But they are going to mark you on only 4 points, giving 0.25 for each point. That is, this question is of 1 mark. Even if you ask 20 points, you still will get 1 mark. So make sure whatever has been given and asked, you should only go that far and no further. For example, the second question is, what points in history suggest this child has CCF? Now you can ask so many questions, but look at the marking pattern. It says 2 into 0.5. 2 is there are 2 points that you're going to ask in history, and each will be given 0.5 marks. So maximum you're allowed to score 1 mark in this. So even if you ask 4 relevant history, and they are very relevant and correct, yet you cannot be given 2 marks, you will still be given 1 mark. So instead of wasting your time, just answer 2 or give only 2 important, salient, what you consider are the most important points, and don't keep writing 3, 4, 5, 6 points. Then, this is, for example, as I told you, what history is. You may take history of, do you get bluish discoloration? At what age you got this bluish discoloration? Breathing difficulty, feeding difficulty, poor weight. Don't ask so many questions, though all of them are relevant. You have got only 4 answers, 0.25 mark for each. Ask any 4 of them. Then after you have answered that, then you will be presented with the next set of questions. The clinical scenario is now presented further to you. Mother says baby has marked breathing and sweats while feeding. Birth weight was so much, current weight is this much. Once treated for chest infection as outpatient, child has no cyanosis. Now that's the clinical scenario. You have no further information. Based on this information, you have to answer the question, what is the classification used for assessment of dyspnea? What is NADA's criteria? Now these 2 questions I've just put extempo. They probably do not derive from this data, but you could have a question based on this data. Now here again, if you look at the marking pattern, it is 4 points, 0.5 mark each. There are so many other points, but you list only 4. Then they give you further. Now they give you a little more information of this baby. On examination, what do you find? On CVS examination, pulse is hyperdynamic, hyperdynamic precordium. They talk about apex beat. They talk about thrill. Now there is no auscultation presented to you. So based on what history you had, based on these clinical parameters that you have been given, they want to know what is your impression of the clinical examination. Describe the murmur that you hear in this, that you expect to hear in this child, and what is the diagnosis. So this is an interactive thing. They have not given you any auscultatory findings, which they will give you maybe as a next question. But based on this question, they will ask certain thing. So you will say, based on these findings, hyperdynamic pulse and apex this child has, so it is suggestive of volume overload. Apex beat is outward and downward. It is suggestive of left ventricular hypertrophy. There is a systolic thrill in the left lower parasternal region. The most common reason is a VSD. So that is what an interactive kind of plausible, most common causes and situations you will have to answer. Now you are given the auscultatory finding that there is a pansystolic murmur in the left lower parasternal region. They can ask you, what is your diagnosis now? You still say it is VSD based on what we have presented. Then what complications can be there? Now in this question, they have said, mention any 4 complications, but they may not write mention any 4. They might be just marks. 4 into 0.25 is equal to 1. So you know that you're going to be marked for only 4 complications. Why give 20? What clinical features are suggestive of onset of pulmonary hypertension? What investigations will you do? So these are the kind of interactive questions you will be asked. You know, blood investigations, normal chest X-ray, cardiomegaly, echo shows this. Now the question is, what chambers do you expect? How do you classify BSD? So that is in a sense the kind of examination that you are going to face. It is going to be a truly clinically oriented presentation. And if you have attended OPDs, if you attended ward rounds, if you have attended and presented even 10 cases of these common 5-7 pathologies, believe you me, you will have no problem answering these questions. Thank you. Dr. Ahmed, back to you.
Yeah. Thank you, sir. I would like to invite Dr. Mohammad Jilani to go ahead with his presentation. We'll take questions together in the end, sir.
Okay, is it visible?
Yeah, please go ahead, sir.
Yes, this is just I want to let you know that those students who have already appeared in the first part of this, I don't think they will face any problem because they have already encountered like it will be station thing like OSPI. So this OSCE also will be the same and they will not feel if there is any difference. They have been exposed to this earlier. But since for the benefits of the students and the examiners, so that they don't have to travel far away, they have made it, and to make the uniformity, they want to control it from the DNB center itself. So for this, they have, it's not moving.
Yeah, the slides are not moving, sir.
Yes, that's.
Yeah, now please go ahead.
Yes, sir. This is for the second year. This is for the second phase of the DNB PETCAT examination, which is December, and the date is the 24th September, that is Thursday. So you should remember it. This is the date for this, for the city ways. Because for the other dates, they will be doing some other DNB exams for the other specialties. If you go, they have revised it, although they have clarified many things, but still there are something which we have to clarify, and that will be finally clarified when we have the workshop on this, which is going to have very soon, and then it will be clarified. Because when I heard the lecture from Dr. O.P. Yadav, I found he still what is his impression and my impression, there are a few points, there is a variation. So I would like to clarify those things. As Dr. O.P. Yadav has virtually said, it will have the 3 components: virtual OSPI, and then the Viva OC this, and the clinical examination. And the minimum marks which is required to pass is the same, like 150, that is 50% of the marks. But what I understand is the out of the 2 components of examination, means the clinical as well as the OSPI, the student have to pass as a combined. Suppose if they have to appear in all the three sections, suppose if any students appear in the one section only and he is absent in the other 2 sections, then he will not pass. And they have given this relaxation for this year to the students. This is to be clarified from the DNB again. We will clarify it because what Dr. O.P. Yadav told they have to pass in the each 3 components separately.
No,
but what? So I means in these 2 components, even if they get the 150 marks, but they have appeared in all the 3 exams, they will get through if they have achieved 150 marks. Then the schedule, as Dr. O.P. Yadav has mentioned, the main thing what I am saying, it is the what you have to note is it is the virtual OSCE run. It will be run by the command center, and each and every student will get the 25 answer sheets, and at the beginning they have to write the names and the other particulars on the exam at the same time, and it will be verified by the examiners who will be working as an invigilator in that hall. They will be sitting and they will be maintaining the social distancing, and other norms will be fulfilled. And with each questions, well, it is not like the spotting. The students are not supposed to move. It will be the slide which will change. So students will keep on sitting on the same place. It is the slide which will move. And after 5 minutes, those sheets will be collected by the invigilator, and it will be deposited with the examination center examiner, so head examiner, who will get it scanned and send it by email to the DNB station. So for all these 25 sheets will have the same thing, and in between they will have some rest period, usually after the 7 slides. And and the rest as has been shown by Dr. Yadav. This is the detail. They will be seated inside the hall following the distancing norm. 25 question sheets will be distributed. They have to sign, enter their roll number and station number on the answer sheet before. Be sure that you are writing the station number properly. It should not be that the slide is showing station number 1 and you're writing on the station number 10 sheet, then you will get the 0 mark. So you have to very clear you have verified, and I will suggest them to arrange it in the same sequence 1 to 25 so that we don't have the mistake. And also ensure that these seats are signed by the invigilator, and rest is already explained. The time allotted will be there will be a time schedule. You should not worry, because the questions which will be asked, it will be in such a way that it will be finished between the time frame. The time, as Dr. O.P. Yadav told, it will be displayed so that the student will know, and you will have the enough time to write that, because the questions you have to just mention the points. No need to write the very subjective answers like answers, and to be very up to the point. So I will give you some example in the afterwards, what you are supposed to write and what you are not supposed to write, and how it will be marked. The Phil's answer sheets of each station will be kept separately for the students, and it will be collected, and it will be sent to the NB. So it will, the local examination center will not have any control over this. Suppose if they have the problem with the network, if suppose with the connectivity is wrong, in that situation, they will get the PPT of this. If they inform the DNB, they would like to send the PPT of that patient so that you can run it on your own. But again, you have to adhere to the time, and that will be a very rare scenario. We don't expect that. The same thing. Suppose if I give the example, this is a cannula. So it will be asked, identify the cannula. So the answer has to be retrograde or retrograde cardioplegia. Retrograde cardioplegia cannula. This is the answer which is required. If you write so many things, it will be given in those patients. It will be given in the patient of AR. It will be given in the patient of CAD. You will not get any marks. You have to know what is the required. So all this, they will have the key answers available with the DNB. So the subject expert will, when they will evaluate, they will say the points which are required, it is mentioned in your answer or not. Suppose if it is mentioned in you have written 5 points and it is matching, and the required is only one point, and you have mentioned that, then you will get the mark, and the marks will be distributed as per the division of the questions which are being shown. Similarly, what is the absolute contraindication of using it? So you have to give the one answer. If you know the 2 and 3 answer, you can mention it. It may be divided into 2 and 3. So, but if suppose if you write 3 and and the answer key shows there are 4 options, then you will miss 1 marks. So you'll get the marks for the 3 only. So similarly, the advantages of the cannula, disadvantage, and the complication it is. So all these things you have to know. And this is just an example. Second is, suppose you get this spot. It is something like a spot. The spot, you will see this wall. So the question can come, identify the wall. So you have to mention the name. If you say it is if you use the word TTK Chitra, it is enough. TTK Chitra tilting disc wall. This will also get you the marks. What are the advantages of this wall? You have to mention 1 or 2, 3 points. So similarly, you have to mention the disadvantage of the wall. What are the disadvantages of these walls? And you have to, and it will be the finally key. The key answer will contain all the possible answers of this, and they will be matched with your answers. Similarly, there may be some of the drugs may be kept. So the cannula, X-rays, ECG, anything, it will be the clinical scenario which can be there. So these spots will be and there will be any answers. You have to be very exact on point so that you don't miss the marks. And this is something like a mathematical. If you answer, you will get full marks. And as you know, this has got the greater weightage, 200 marks out of 300 for this ASPE. So you can imagine how objective is this exam. This exam has become very objective. It is not like earlier where it will be mostly in the hands of the examiners, whether they are happy with the answer or not. It is all in black and white here. So it has become very objective examination. And I hope if you know the subject, you will get the benefit. But if you don't know the subject, if you cannot analyze what is the exact thing, if you don't know the priority, if you don't know the sequence of the common, suppose if you tell the rare things first and the common thing, then you are bound to lose the marks. Another example, these instruments they have. They may say, okay, what is they may level it 1 or 2, and they can ask, identify the instruments, where it is used, who invented it, and can you tell 1 or 2 contributions by the person who has invented it. So all these things there, and it will be the totally clinical scenario. The clinical scenario can be either there will be some history, clinical history, which can lead to the some of the diagnosis or the examination. It will be very hallmark of that. Suppose if some disease, I'm giving example. Suppose in the history they say if the patient has the history of stroke, patient has got the history of emboli, and then they will have history that the patient has got the BMV in the past, something like they will give, so that you will be able to reach to one of the diagnosis. And they will not ask like they keep till the clinical finding of the micronephrosis. They will give you the clue, you have to analyze and you have to reach the diagnosis, and on basis on that they will ask the questions. So it will not be direct, it will be twisted questions, and you have to identify the diagnosis. Similarly on the examination, X-ray also there will be some pointer, they will exactly ask you what is the exact going. So it can be anything, they can ask but any of the investigations, examination, history, anything can be asked in this section. Then the second comes will be the Viva VOC components, which is the 40 marks question, 40 marks. It will have the uh, 4 questions of 10 marks each. And it is important that this will not be provided by, the questions here will not be provided by the NB. It will be the center will arrange for this, and they will divide. And but the DNB will give the domain, like the Dr. Yadav said ki the domain will be acyanotic congenital heart disease, cyanotic congenital heart disease, valvular heart disease, and the thoracic surgery, recent advances, statics, morphology, and the operative treatment. All these things. So it will cover almost all the things, and the center will be at liberty. And usually, what you expected is the two examiner will examine for the two domain, two examiner will be examining for the two domain instead, and they will be marking independently. Each and every examiner will mark independently, and but there will be two teams, so that the bias will not be there. Another after this Viva OC components, we will have the clinical case scenario. The clinical case scenario, as Dr. Obiado said, you will be given only very limited information, and then you will be asked what are the questions you would like to ask. Similarly, they will give 1 or 2 clinical points in the examination, and they will say what are the things you would like to ask, or they will give history in detail about that, and they will say what are the other information do you want, can you reach onto the some conclusion. So it will be basically, and this case scenario will be virtual. It is just to help the centers where uh, the real patient won't be available at this time, and there is also threat of spreading the infection. So keeping that point, it has been devised that the NBE will have the bank of this case scenario, and out of this case scenario, uh, they will they will give one of the case scenario will be same for all the centers. All the centers, the same case will be discussed, but there will be no videography of that this components. So examiners which are there, they will be at liberty to ask whatever question they would like, whatever they want to see whether this will be basically to analyze what is the understanding of the students and the correlation of the clinical as well as the examination and the investigative uh, things which are there, how he is able to correlate and how is he able to reach to the diagnosis. But one should not here, as Dr. Obiado said, ki the marks will be divided into many parts. Suppose if the virtual case has been given of the diagnosis of the mitral stenosis, and if the candidates has reached to a diagnosis of mitral stenosis, just the reverse, instead of mitral stenosis, he has reached to the diagnosis of mitral regurgitations. Don't be afraid. You will not lose much mark. It will be the weightage of this the diagnosis will be only 1 marks, so you lose only 1 marks. And this mistake you have done because you have not able to analyze the things which are given, which are the points which are given, and you have failed to ask some questions regarding this disease. But it won't be a blunder if you make the diagnosis of the MR in place of the MS. And it will both examiner will take the examiner's exam, and it will be totally in their hands. They will be deciding what questions they are asked. It only these things, this the virtual patient which has been which will be given for the NB, it will only give lead. This will be the leading things, and afterwards uh, the uh, the center examiner will take the lead from this, and they will start asking the question and they will analyze. Then just I would like to stop. I will share the another thing. What I will give how they are. Suppose this is the patient. Suppose this thing will come. Suppose this thing has come. Now they will say patient is 14 months, male, female.
Sir, we are not able to see anything. It's a blank screen.
Oh,
Can you share this? This sharing actually we are unable to see anything.
are you able to see now?
No, sir. It is just coming as you started sharing screen, but we are unable to see the picture yet.
No. I will do it again.
See, till Dr. Jilani shares his screen, let me clarify and issue a corrigendum. I have checked just now on telephone from the board. He's absolutely right, and I stand corrected. The examination need not be passed individually. It will be the composite aggregate out of 300. So OSCE 200, 40 for the Viva, 60 for the clinical case. If you score overall 150, failing one component, you still pass. I'm sorry for that confusion.
Thank you, sir.
Okay.
Yeah, Dr. Jilani, you can go ahead. We can see now.
So this is just to give an example how the clinical case scenario will be presented. It will be given that the patient is, I told you, 14 months male, and then this will be the history. So they will show to the other things also, like the general examinations. These are the findings, saturation, everything will be there. And then they will ask on the clinical examinations, these are the scenario of the clinical examination. Now here the students will be free to ask any points, or whether it is this examination, this murmur about the examination, about the history, and the examiners will give the answer whether suppose if you ask it, is there any other murmur, is the S2 is single, whether it is loud or not. So examiner will say yes, it is loud. It will, so they will give you the lead, and on that lead you have to move. Similarly, they will show the ECG. ECG will be given of that patient. X-ray will be given of that patient. So you have to discuss all these things, and it will be available. These things will be available to the center, and this PPT will be available with the center. It will be given at the time, and they can run on their own ease, and they have to finish within within time. Similarly, they will show the echo. Suppose this echo is there. So they may ask you, what are the other information do you want? Because this echo will be kept inadequate. This will not be a complete things. They want to know whether what are the information you want to know on the echo. So this scenario, they will miss out one or two points, important points on the which will diagnose you. Okay, that suppose if it is tetralogy, what is a tetralogy of fellow? So they will say, okay, what are the points which are missed out to reach to a diagnosis of this, and then you have to give. Now here the examiner will be at the liberty whether they want to know about each and everything, whether they want to know about all the segments, whatever is written, whether it is situs subtus, if they want to go to situs subtus, or they want to go to levocardia, mesocardia, dextrocardia, whatever they want to discuss, they will be able to discuss. But they will be assessing you whether you are exposed to this type of cases or there, and or your concept of tetralogy of fellow is clear or not. Similarly, either they'll provide the CT NGOs or other NGOs, so the examiners will get everything ready made to them. So they don't have to worry, they don't have to arrange. So whatever is there, so this is the material which will be available with the DNP, so they don't have to worry for this. And the similarly, okay, I will again come to the original presentation. Few one or two points there. No. Okay. So that was about the first case. Okay. And because this time is at the time when we have to avoid the physical contacts with the especially patients, and we have to protect the students as well. And so for this, we want to really avoid the the real patients. We don't want to expose, so we have to this real patient should be avoided. That's why the first case was given, that was virtual, and the second one, the clinical skill demonstration. This will be like if the examiners would like to ask about some operative procedures, operative things, or they will be again at liberty. Suppose if they want to keep some instruments, they want to keep some graft, instrument patches or other specimens, other things, they will be free to reach to this clinical scenario. And it will be basically to test the skill, uh, and uh, and the skill in your case is the surgical skills. So they will be asking the questions which will show you whether you are exposed to these surgicals and their complications, how will you manage in the ICU and the post-op periods. Okay, thank you very much. And again, I wish all the students to be very successful. They should be successful with the flying color. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. As we join with the questions, I would request Dr. Sri Krishna, who is there as also an examiner, I would allow him to come down on board. Sir, are you there?
What do I do?
You have to switch on your camera, sir.
Oh, that is not happening. I don't know why.
Okay, we can hear you, sir. You can go ahead, tell your comments.
Okay, I just have one question to ask
Yes, sir. Please, sir.
about the Viva. You know, it was not very clear. The Viva also has a limited number of questions and a limited number of time at each station, or how does it go about? And then are there any restrictions for the number of questions at each station?
Hello.
Yeah.
Hello?
Hello, can I answer this question?
Yes, please go ahead, sir.
Yes, well, as for there is no restriction on the questions, it will be totally on the examiners. I mentioned it will be totally on the examiners who are examining. There will be two teams, two examiner, and two examiner at one means the Viva will be happening at 2 places, and all and here they will be exposed. The students will be exposed to all the 4 examiners, both the teams, and they will be at liberty to ask whatever question. But it is expected that they will, because the domain, whatever domain is given, that domain is very wide, like the valvular heart disease, cyanotic heart disease, acyanotic heart disease, and then the adult, uh, even the coronaries and the thoracic surgery. So the domains is very wide. They can ask any question, but the time limitations you have to done. But you have to keep ready, uh, because afterwards the clinical case scenario will start, and they will be starting from the DNB side. So you have to finish between that time. That you have to keep in mind.
So on an average, how many candidates will be in each center?
That I don't have any idea. Dr. Yadav, do you have any idea?
No, they have not told anything about the number of students that will be, but it has to be for sure a limited number. But they have declared there will be 8 to 9 centers throughout the country. So we can imagine that whatever number of students who are appearing, if they're going to be divided, probably each center may have 4, 5, 6 of them. But it will be a single day exam as against the normal, which was a 3-day affair, a 4-day affair. It will be a single day exam. So whatever the number of students, and the time when you were asking Shri Krishna about the Viva, that time will obviously depend. If there are only 3 students, they may get 10 minutes in the Viva. Suppose there are 20 by any chance, then because it has to be completed within that 1.5 hours, you will find there will be just 2 questions each, and that's about it.
Yeah, that's what I wanted to know. Thank you. Okay.
Directly, they will be time bound.
Yeah, I know. Because otherwise, sometimes in the regular examination, we used to go on and on, depending on the number of candidates. But here, you will go in 1.5 hours, you have to finish the whole thing.
No, you can't go on and on, because most of it is being run by DNB. They are playing the OSCE stations from Delhi. So even if you want to delay, you can't.
Yeah. No, I meant the Viva and this thing.
Well, in Viva, the time is so fixed and limited, and the questions have to be submitted. The answer sheets have to be submitted back. The results will have to be compiled and submitted on the same evening.
Correct. So the second question I have is in the second part of your clinical examination, where you're going to be asking for clinical skills. Are you going to be asking to demonstrate clinical signs, or how to examine, say, look for a JVP, or look for your, as you said, popliteal pulse, or only that, or something else? Or you also give some amount of ask about operative steps and things like that?
Well, to my best of understanding, they have very clearly said that, look, we don't have to ask things which have already been examined for. Theoretical knowledge has already gone through. Operative is surgery is a domain in Viva. So they're not going to be asked, but they have left a lot of it to the clinical center that they allocate, what facility they are going to generate, whether they will be able to provide a clinical case. They have very clearly said they can even be using dummy and mannequins. So, will that be possible? How they're going to do, or put a dummy patient, a volunteer, healthy volunteer, and then you ask him that, okay, how will you see the JVP, clinical skill demonstration?
Yeah.
But, there is some degree of, let me tell you, uncertainty of how things will go around. But let me tell the students that certainty is not going to affect them at all. They will be, it will be a very smooth ride. I see it will be an easier ride than probably the routine examination.
Exactly. That's what I meant. That's what I also envisaged. And we did conduct a similar mock exam for the FRCS going students last year in our thoracic surgery conference. And there we used some dummy volunteers actually, and they were giving this. They even pretended. Some of them even pretended that they had chest wall deformity and chest wall movement. This thing to simulate empyema and things like that. So anyway, that depends on the individual centers, I'm sure. I would like actually, Hiramat, I would like the students to ask more questions than us.
Yeah. Students are there, sir. We'll go ahead with the students.
Yeah, please.
I would request the students to come on board. I have made all the students as panelists. Would you like to come on board, or I should ask on behalf of you questions? Anyway, I'll start with the question, sir. One Dr. Palit has asked, what is the pattern for part 1 practical examinations? Is it general surgery or cardiac surgery?
Whom do you want me to answer that?
Yes, sir.
Okay, now, because this was a query asked to us also, and when Dr. Jilani was presenting, I took the time to ring National Board to find out about the marks confusion, which I said Dr. Jilani is right. At that time, I asked this question, and they said, 1 or 2 candidates we know who have received part 1 examination for 23rd. According to the Deputy Director, no notification for part 1 has been issued, and the decision for these have not yet been taken. But if you want to ask me intuitively from past, my answer is probably both will be included. Basic general surgery, response to trauma, and those kind of inflammation, infection, and cardiac surgery will be asked in part 1, but part 1 notification has not been issued.
The next question is, sir.
Can I add something?
Yeah, please, sir.
Yes, Dr. Yadav is totally right. It is not the part 1 exam, it is the part 2 exam. This is something like an exit exam or DNB. So here, whatever is it is related to the cardiac surgery and thoracic surgery, and no general surgery part will be asked in this. So I think I was seeing the chat. There is some confusion about the part 1 and part 2. As Dr. Opil told, they have got some notification. So it is not what we are talking about. That is the part 2 of the exit exam of the DNB. Thank you.
Sir, why we are not made aware of the sub questions in every question? It will be beneficial for the candidate to know the weightage of the and answer accordingly. This is the question asked.
Pardon?
Why we are not made aware of the sub questions in every question? It will be beneficial for the candidate to know the weightage to and answer accordingly.
I will answer that if Dr. Gilani permits. See, on the top of if there is a sub question, on the screen, on the left upper corner, it will be part 1/2 or 1/3, means this question has 3 parts and this is part 1 of that question. Why they are not releasing all 3? Because some of them are analytical questions. So till you have the analysis of the first given by the student, they cannot ask the second question. They can't say what will echo show. Suppose the first part question answer, I think is, what is the next investigation you will like to do? Your answer is echo. If they ask you the second part, what echo findings would you like to look for? Then you have given the answer of the first part. But student will know if any question has got 3 parts which are hidden, then they would know that this question has 3 parts. On the left-hand corner, which will be written 1/3, means this is part 1 of 3 questions.
Do the sub questions also have equal marks, or that will be displayed, sir, or how is it?
It will be displayed if they are equal marks. Student will have an idea of how much time to spend.
The next question is a lung case will be kept in the clinical examination domain for CTVS? The question is. A lung case scenario.
It should be.
Sir, another doubt is that they have attended the webinar conducted by National Board of Examinations a week back for CTVS. They said that the marks of the questions will not be projected with the question. Then how can we write the number of points?
If I can answer, we have already taken up this, that either, and I told you the 2 clinical scenarios, 2 scenarios, either they should mention what point numbers they expect from the student. Out of 20 findings, do they want students to only name 5 important findings? Then they should say. or they should come out with the marks, which in the webinar and also what they told us in our tutorial, that they would give along with the answer, that the mark should be given along with the question. They are considering changing this.
So students of phase 1 exams complained that due to multiple subdivision of questions, they faced lack of time. How do we answer this?
Dr. Hiramath, may I request you, every time you ask a question, then you direct us to one of us.
Sure, sir. Dr. Gilani can answer this.
Otherwise, it wastes time. Yeah.
Hello. This what I feel ki that the timing when the weightage will be given, it will be given as per the answer. If the answer is big, then the weightage will be more if the time taken. So I don't think the time constraint will be there in this, and be sure ki that it won't be taken. But you will not feel the scarcity of the time. And the second, what I understand is that suppose is that at the station number 1, suppose that the station number 1 there is a one question is coming, second is coming, so you will have the time. You will have the time to revert to the first question, and you can correct yourself. Suppose if you have made a right diagnosis when it was showing, it is not key that your answer sheet is with you. So you have the liberty to change your answer, and you can change it. It is not key that answer sheet is going after the one subsection of the one station.
Yeah. Question to Dr. O. Yeah. Please go ahead, sir.
Yeah, just see, please do not write grammatically correct long sentences with a verb and a noun and a pronoun with a comma. Don't say the child has got cyanosis. No, just say cyanosis plus. That's it. So give bullet point answers, because you're going to be marked on bullet point answers only. So that's the way to save time, that don't give descriptive answers.
Sir, is this Dr. O.P. Yadav, sir, is this exam pattern for all practicals will be same as for those undergoing the upcoming December 2020 theory also?
Say that again, I couldn't follow the question.
Now, this exam is for COVID-19, due to COVID-19, the present conditions. Yeah. After people who write their exams in December, theory exams, for their practicals also the pattern be same, or they are asking that? What different?
Well, if you ask me, see, nothing has been told. But yes, if I have to do crystal gazing, a clairvoyant, I'm not. But I would believe it would be the same, because I don't see COVID going away in the next 3 months.
Exactly.
So
exactly.
You just
I think this will be a norm for the future.
At least near future, at least 1 or 2 exams you're going to have. But you must also realize that there is an option. Those students who do not want to write this exam, they can opt that whenever COVID conditions permit, we will take the regular exam. DNB has that option open.
But they are not allowed to practice, neither they will be allowed a job, and the institute may not allow them to continue at their paces. That's the challenges.
Perfect. So that's why we are not suggesting you do that. But
yes, sir.
The option is available.
Available, okay.
Yeah, option is available.
Yeah. Next question to Dr. Gilani. Can we go back and correct our answer after seeing the sub questions?
Yes, that you can do it. But it will be only station wise. Suppose if the station 2, you made some mistake and you want to correct it, you can do within that time. If that sheet is collected, then afterwards you cannot do. So till the sheets are with you, that is the reason why DNB is going to collect it immediately. Otherwise, you will have all the 20 minutes and you can correct it afterwards. So till the sheet is there, till that thing is streaming, you can have it and you can correct it also.
Thank you.
And the other thing I will suggest all the DNB candidates to, but this will be something like a trial run of this exam. And obviously when there is a trial, they will see whether it is useful, and it is always student friendly. Whatever decision will be taken afterwards, it will be students friendly. So I will suggest all the students who are due to appear in this part 2, they should appear in this exam. Don't opt for the other, because that will be even. That will not be seen in the near future also. And but here they can score well also.
Yeah. Over to Dr. Pradeep Narayan is there. So please go ahead. I'd like to hear a comment.
Sorry, I don't have much to say. I think Dr. Yadav and Dr. Jilani have covered most of it. But I just agree with Dr. Jilani that this is a very good system that DNB has come up with. And this is a very fair way of judging people. So there are no difficult examiners and easy centers. So it's the same exam and same questions for all candidates throughout the country. So I think that's very good. The second thing is, the second benefit I see here is that it's no longer, I mean, previously we used to hear that if there are 6 candidates in a center or 8 candidates in a center, 4 or 5 would pass and 3 will fail. I mean, that was the norm. But here, every 100% can pass and 100% can fail. So it's not a competitive exam. It is a qualifying exam as it should be. That's all I have to say. Thank you.
It's true, very true.
Sir, are there any videos to Dr. Jilani only? Are there any videos being projected in OSCE examinations?
Yes, yes, it can be, but we will try to, what the DNB wants that it should not be very heavy loaded media so that the centers where the connectivity is not good, they should fail. So it can be there. It cannot be ruled out. It won't be there, but we have been asked to avoid it. And I request all the senior doctors, all the examiners and all the students who are on board. So they should just tell whatever their queries are there, whatever we have not covered and whatever is there, so that we can discuss with the in the workshop, which is going to be held very soon, and we can get it corrected if there is any anxiety about anything.
Sir, the next question is regarding part 1. When we received an email whether to opt in or opt out of exams, and we opted in for the examinations, they also have that option for part 1 also. Is it only for part 2 or even part 1 also has been done? Dr. OP can help us in this.
Yes, this option will be there for both parts. And part 1 won't hurt them because they're going to level will not be affected by delaying part 1. Yes. Even after 6 months, they could be level 3 and appearing for part 1. But part 2, yes, your degree will be delayed. My sincere advice to all students would be, at least for part 2, I think, don't quote me, but you stand a better chance with this exam. Take it.
Yes, sir. Sir, the next question is, what is the fallback if internet of an exam center fails?
The examination center failing, that's why National Board will keep every single backup copy with every examination. Okay. That in case there is a net failure, the centers will be equipped to run it at local level. So there is a backup provision. You may be delayed by 10 minutes. If it fails, the examination may not start at 9, it will start at 9:15. But there will be no problem. The whole thing will be run by the local center. It will be password protected. Immediately on phone, you contact the National Board that our net is not working. They will release the password at that moment, and you open the password and run that program at the local center.
I think I've taken most of the questions, sir, and even the chats, whatever they come out.
Who has asked this doomsday scenario?
Yeah.
What are they praying for? This should happen to all centers on that day.
I missed this. What was this about?
No, they were praying that all centers miss the internet on that day, sir.
Then what happens?
Okay, thank you, Dr. Jilani and Dr. Yadav. It was a good session.
Any other questions from the students? Yeah, some more questions coming up.
Oh, okay.
They are requesting the National Board to conduct part 1 as well. But anyway, that's not in our hands, that they will decide. Yeah.
We will convey it to them. We will see, because we have not been contacted about the part 1. So we will again clarify whether what is the status of the part 1 and what are they going to do.
One student has requested, can we conduct a mock examination on Zoom?
I think Dr. R.V. Kumar is doing. I think it won't be fair for us being involved in this exam. And but it is not fair for me and Dr. Yadav to take the mock exam for this, because we may be able to give one of the 2 clues which will go against the exam. So I will say you can ask the other senior surgeons who are there, like, but you can take Dr. Hiramath and Dr. Shri Krishna and Dr. P. Narayan. They can take, and you can involve more person from the Narayana Vidyalaya also. So you can take the mock exam. There is no restriction on that, but it will be better if we can be excused from that.
Sure.
And all this, the slide, whatever is the clinical scenario which me and Dr. Yadav was showing, so that won't be shown in the examination. So, but at least one thing is clear: this thing will not be asked in the examination in this form, whatever. So, if it is asked, it will be in some other form. So the questions and everything will change.
One student has asked from Calcutta, sir, what should be the focus of preparation now? Clinical or surgical steps or theory or others? Dr. O.P. Yadav should answer this.
Well, believe you me, if you have attended your clinics, your bedside teaching, if you have been a part of the operating team in 10, 15 ASD, VSDs, PDAs, then there is not a clinical scenario which you would have missed, which will be asked. So basic day-to-day and specific instructions, we are not going to test theoretical knowledge. It is clinical application of that knowledge. So read through your general. My advice would be start discussing cases between yourself, present cases to your colleague. Let that other student or a faculty member ask you questions, and that's the way you practice for these exams rather than reading through the books.
Yes, sir.
Okay, and can I add?
Please go ahead.
But as the timings are very short in these things, there is it is obvious that the examiners, they will not go in depth. They won't be able to go in depth. They won't be able to ask multiple questions on the same subject. So obviously, what they will be asking will be the very basic things, very, very basic things, which will be essential to assess whether you are a safe person to operate, to do the sternotomy, to put the patient on the bypass, to do the basics repair like ASD, VSD. So the complex, don't think you will be asked about the complex things, other things. So you don't go and study and get ASD, VSD, tetralogy, single wall, double wall, all these things which you are doing it every day. You should focus on that and to be on the very basic points. Okay, but here your seniors will help you. Your seniors, your teacher will help you. What are the basic things? And don't try to think that in the exam very hi-fi things and very, very strong and neo theory will be asked. It will not be asked. It will be only basic things because the time duration is very low, and they won't be able to go in great depth in that.
Yeah, a few questions on the YouTube, sir, to Dr. Jilani itself. Sir, are there any questions from general surgery in OSCE in the final examinations?
No, there will be no question from the general surgery. It will be only in the part 1. Part 2, there will be no question from the general surgery.
Yeah. Question to Dr. O.P. Yadav. How about clinical skills demonstration for part 1 students? Anything like basic life support demonstration, etc. they are asking, sir?
Well, I doubt very much they are entitled to ask anything. But basic life support, I don't think anyone will ask a surgeon to demonstrate putting an endotracheal tube. So theoretically, yes. Practically, no.
Sir, yeah. The next question is, most of the part 1 students are in doubt whether they are going to write their exams in September. That is on 24th or 26th. I have asked during the webinar in National Board of Examinations last week. They said that the webinar is directed to both part 1 and 2. Can you help us to clear this doubt?
Well, I'll take this question if Dr. Jilani permits, because I told you very clearly just in that time when Dr. Jilani was delivering his presentation, I did speak to someone very senior to clarify on this issue. In my institute, one student has received the card for the 23rd for the part 1 examination. They have already launched that. How come this was issued? It is by mistake, probably they say. No part 1 notification has been issued. So at this moment, it is only part 2, and I don't think there are so many part 2 examinations, about 20 of them, which are going out in different specialities. They can't handle more than one specialty in a day. So they will not be able to do part 1 in September. Even logistically, it is not possible. So the answer is most probably September, there is no part 1. But don't hold me to it. If you still have doubt, please check with the National Board.
Yes, sir. Sir, the question is, when we get our hall tickets, we will have to travel to other places other than the city we have opted for. Should we have to travel? Dr. O.P. Yadav can answer this.
Well, this again we asked, they said we are going to make all out effort to accommodate students in a nearby center. So very, very unlikely. But if someone is, one student in some remote corner of the country, then he might have to travel 400 kilometers to the nearest center, then he will have to. But it cannot be that there are 10 students in that area and a center has not been created for them. So majority of the students will go within the near vicinity, and odd one out may have to travel.
Question to Dr. Jilani. Sir, how the part 1 CTVS will be conducted, sir?
I think there is some confusion at the DNB level, and I also received a phone call from someone, and they said we are going to have the workshop and we are calling you and one general surgeon from somewhere. I said, why the general surgeon for this? They said we usually include one general surgeon. Then I said, what? It is the part 1 or part 2? Then say it is the part 2. I said, no, in the part 2 there is no. Then they realized the mistakes, and they said, okay. Then we will call both the cardiac surgeons. I will not call only the one cardiac surgeon. So I think there is some confusion. It is better to clarify from the DNB, and when we will be in contact with them, we will touch it and we will again clarify it from them.
I think we took all the questions and answers both from YouTube and from Zoom, sir. On behalf of the Indian Association of Cardiothoracic and Vascular Surgeons, I would like to thank today's speakers and examiners, Dr. O.P. Yadav, sir, and Dr. Mohammad Jilani. I would also like to thank Dr. Pradeep Narayan and Dr. S.V. Krishna for coming on board and sharing their experience. We look forward for further interaction, sir. Now, apart from examinations, further talks in ICTS webinars. Thank you once again, sir.
Thank you. Thank you.